Hello and welcome to the Dinosaw for week 21. Another 7 curious, interesting things I saw last week. So as ever, let's crack on. First one is DoNotPay. Now DoNotPay is a kind of AI lawyer. Lots of noise earlier in the year about it, trying to take on its first actual court case. However, this is CEO Joshua Broder demonstrating how it can be used to cancel his New York Times subscription. So this is a real customer service agent on the end of this chat and having a quite sort of a complicated chat to try and get out of this. As ever, service agent is trying to say, hey, do you realize what the benefits are? And you'll be losing this, and how about this, and how about that? However, DoNotPay, the bot, surfed all the way through that and got it cancelled. So it's really, really interesting. There was an AI summit during the week, and there was a really interesting vibe about this is all going one way, which is big companies using AI not against their customers, but to manipulate in a certain way. There is a coming wave of customers weaponizing this against businesses, basically, to get maybe a better insurance deal, that sort of thing. So thought that was really interesting and very timely. Didn't realize there were this many satellites in the sky from Starlink. So this is satellite map.space. Go and have a look at that. It's really, really sort of mind-blowing, but I'm kind of showing you it here. So these are all the Starlink. So this is SpaceX's or Elon Musk, whichever way you want to think about it. These are just satellites that Starlink have put into the sky. There are 3,562 active satellites. If you're interested in OneWeb, for instance, far less, and if you're interested in the GPS satellites, which are a far higher let's just say orbit or altitude, those are them. Apparently there's a lot more space for a lot more satellites, and there's going to be a lot more as well. There's a great thing if you do click on, I found it tells you how many have burnt up, how many are inactive, and how many have basically been launched. So over 4,395 have been launched. Really, really interesting how many satellites are there. And the little green dots there you're seeing are the ISS and NORAD, I think. There you go. Go and have a play. It's very interesting. This is Telly. Now Telly have an app. That's how I've known them, but they've actually got now this thing which you can sign up for. They have 500,000 of these apparently being created. So you can go to the website, you can sign up, and you will get a free Telly 55-inch TV. As you can see, it's got all the gubbins, HDR, 4K, that sort of thing. But it also comes with a extra screen that is part of the thing. Like, you can't just cover it up, but it's part of the thing. There's a camera built in and all sorts. Now that lower screen has advertising in it, and that's how they can then extra monetize the advertising on the screen. Now it's not all advertising, so it can have widgets, it can have live commentary, it can do all sorts of things on that bottom screen. It weighs a lot as well, apparently £60, so you're going to have to have a fairly good wall to stick it on as well. But there you go. So if you're interested in that and you want one of those 500,000 units, then go and sign up now. If you read the terms and conditions, they literally watch everything you do. They know where you live, who you are, who's watching it, all that sort of stuff, and therefore what you're watching. So that's why you get your adverts on that. But there you go. If you want a free 55-inch TV, you know what to do. This is PteroDynamics. I've been following these guys for a while. I just love, I mean, it does look like a drone. It's not supposed to look like a drone. It just looks like an aircraft. This is a small version of it. But imagine this being commercial flight of the future. Really interesting code and how they've managed to model this, where when the wings come out, it still stays in flight, and then it starts to go forwards with fixed wings. So as you're seeing here, just love the way that whatever they've done with the algorithm there is brilliant. So this solves two things. Obviously you get your vertical, well, three things really. You get your vertical landing and takeoff. Vertical takeoff and landing is VTOL, and then you get the efficiency of fixed wing flight because you've got lift from the wings, so that's great. And the third thing it does, it's electric as well. So if you imagine a airport of the future with these things whizzing in and out, going vertically, and also being relatively silent, then we're getting somewhere with this. So very good. That's the SXP4. Very exciting. This is DragGAN. That's a generative adversarial networks. If you're not sure what a GAN is, you know what dragging is. So what this is doing is it's taking an image, it's regenerating an image based on essentially its training. So it's an adversarial generative AI. It knows what a car looks like, for instance. So if you take a piece of a car and you drag it, it's regenerating the image. So this one's hilarious. It's like it knows what a horse is and it can regenerate the horse real time. So you know, obviously if you'd have done this before, this would have been Photoshop and a lot of maybe clone tooling and maybe sort of, you know, liquefying and that sort of thing. But now you can just regenerate using something like DragGAN. Now if you want to go and play with it and you are so inclined and technically able, then it's all on GitHub, so you can actually play with this yourself. So if you use Photoshop right now, then this is probably going to be coming to Photoshop sometime soon. I would have thought it's a great tool, but you know, everybody's crying, oh, it's the end of Photoshop. It's not really, it's just another way of manipulating images. I thought it was interesting. This may well be Instagram's play at taking over Twitter's kind of audience, really. So this is what they're currently, the tagline apparently is Instagram for your thoughts. So it's a text version of Instagram. Clearly you can obviously share images and videos and that sort of thing. So think Meta's version of Twitter. You're not far wrong. So some really interesting things that it does, or seemingly does. So this was mentioned at one of the sort of the Meta meetings. Somebody got a bit of a scoop on it as well. So it will work with your audience already. So you can just basically start talking to your audience in a different way. But also it says that it will play with other apps like Mastodon as well. So that's quite interesting. If you've been on Mastodon and you've managed to figure it out, you're a better person than I, because I still haven't really figured it out. It's really complicated. So everybody's looking for where do Twitter people go now that Twitter's gone a bit weird. So this may well be it. Of course, it comes with the overhead of being with Meta still, so you're stuck between two rocks there, I would suggest, but there you go. And finally, we got the Jizai, I guess, Jizai arms. So this is a slightly bonkers video. It doesn't really do the actual thing justice, I don't think. But what this was a study. This is actually from the University of Tokyo with augmented limbs, and it's not quite what the experiment is that I'm actually reporting on, but basically you can wear these limbs and you can share these limbs. You can take them off and you can add some more if you really want to. You can have one, you can have six, it's up to you. But the report was about what happens when other people can control your limbs and you can share limbs with other people and interact with other people. So it was a really, really interesting piece of research. It was like, yeah, it's a sort of an area that nobody's gone into before. And also a lot of the testers who are doing this reported a real sense of loss when they lost these limbs. So it was about how the brain can adapt to having these extra appendages and therefore miss them when they're gone. So there you go. If you're worrying about sort of what's it like to be a robot, it's actually probably more what's it like to go back to being a human after being a robot. There you go. Hopefully that was interesting. Hopefully it was useful. If it was, give it a like, share it, all that sort of good stuff. I would definitely suggest you subscribing and all those things. So I will speak to you next week.